So Ryan Garcia's team, they clapped back at this new lawsuit from Goldenboy and Oscar De La Hoya. I do believe he makes a strong case to be. We're going to talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Subscribe. I'm the GOAT. Best in the business. Now, I made a video previous to this. Subscribe to the channel so you guys can stay up to date. Ryan Garcia is now being sued by his very own promoter. Yes, his promoter, Oscar De La Hoya and Goldenboy. They are suing Ryan Garcia to ensure that he adheres to a pre-established contract, and they do not want him to breach that contract. So that being said, what does that mean? Well, I ain't passed the bar, but I know a little bit, enough that you won't illegally. I ain't passed the bar. I'm no Johnny Cochran. Actually, I'm Ego Cochran. And let me just say this. If they have a fear that you are going to breach contract, that means there is something that is indicating that you would breach the contract. If you're a manager at a retail store and you just mopped, that's why you would reach for the wet floor sign, because there is a fear, and to avoid and avert potential danger to a customer, you notify them by putting up the yellow wet floor sign, right? Because that means you believe some people unknowingly could slip. That's why you put up the wet floor sign. So in the same vein, Oscar De La Hoya wouldn't be prematurely suing Ryan Garcia unless there was some kind of tension or trouble in paradise or indicators that led him to believe that Ryan, could try to fight elsewhere or is up to something. Him and his advisor, Lupe Valencia. So I think Ryan has been disgruntled for a while and not happy with this situation. He fought on the Showtime card. It was really a Showtime card. They did everything against Gervonta Davis. Although he lost, he still got a taste of that Al Heyman checks on all of my events, like Drake said. And I think he probably feels a type of way and feels like as a fighter, he's not getting paid his true worth or whatever. I mean, you ultimately would have to ask Ryan Garcia these questions. I'm just giving you my outside looking in perspective. So that being said, Goldenboy fears that Ryan Garcia could go elsewhere. Now, the people representing Ryan Garcia, they have clapped back at this news, public news, now news, that Goldenboy is suing Ryan Garcia. And it says, quote, Goldenboy is obligated to promote and enhance Ryan Garcia, not malign him on Twitter and file a public baseless lawsuit against him. And this is coming from James Bo-Peril, who is partnered with Paul Hastings' law firm that is part of the litigation in the council representing Ryan Garcia. So they're saying Goldenboy is out of pocket by, instead of promoting him, they're doing things that misrepresent our fighter. It says, quote, ironically, the lawsuit itself constitutes a breach of the very agreement Goldenboy is seeking to enforce. So Ryan's people believe that in doing certain things that Goldenboy has done, they have in effect breached their own contract. And then they're trying to say Ryan Garcia is stuck in this contract, but it's Ryan's side arguing that we shouldn't. You basically made our contract null and void when you started going against us and publicly putting certain things on Twitter. So that's where we're at right now. And what this is referring to is a Twitter spat that recently happened. I made videos about it. Again, you would know this. I'm the best in the business if you actually subscribe to my channel. If you guys have not subscribed to my channel and then you're complaining that you don't know what's going on, it's your fault, because I'm here. I work daily. I do the work, put out the content for you guys, take it or leave it. So Oscar De La Hoya was pandering and saying like, who should Ryan Garcia fight next? And then he randomly tweeted out that Ryan could fight Pacquiao. Ryan responded on Twitter. He says, quote, this isn't happening. I said what I wanted. It's frustrating and I am tired of this. De La Hoya clapped back and said, what the F, Ryan? It's been almost 2 months and you're still crying about the post-fight presser. The blame is you. I blame you for your loss. It's you and your advisor, Lupe. He's the one that pushed you to accept an insane rehydration clause And that is the reason you lost. Man up and own that, right? He says, also, you keep saying Tank Gervonta's team offered you support, blah, blah, blah. Bro, they set you up to lose with the rehydration clause. And most importantly, Al Heyman didn't even show up the entire week. Actually, he never shows up. How's that for support? Now, Oscar De La Hoya seems really concerned with Al Heyman. Al Heyman, my thing is this, he consistently doesn't make himself a public figure and visible. So it's not like he doesn't, when Errol Spence fights, he's not publicly doing interviews. When Wilder fights, I mean, he could be at the events. Maybe he's watching from home. Who knows? He's like a ghost. But why is Oscar De La Hoya concerned with that? And again, I give props to Al Heyman because he's at least consistent. Some people don't want to be bothered and in front of the camera. But while you're sitting up here, Oscar De La Hoya, talking about Al Heyman and him not showing up, his fighters, he's saying, how's that for support? But Al Heyman's fighters aren't turning against him. Meanwhile, Goldenboy fighters like Ryan Garcia have had spats in the past, and now you're suing them, and there's currently some friction, which is very apparent in public. Same thing with Canelo. Payday, he left you. He sued to get out the contract. Senicia Estrada, she publicly outed, she wasn't getting paid her worth and wasn't getting treated right, and now she's with Top Rank, and so on and so forth. So while Goldenboy is preoccupied with the black advisor whose fighters aren't complaining about him, Tank is not complaining about Al Heyman. Errol Spence just got the Crawford fight. He's not complaining about Al Heyman, right? Everybody with Al Heyman, no one's really complaining, but your fighters are complaining. Seems like that is what you would probably want to focus on. But you know how people do. People tend to try to deflect when, the heat's on them. But ultimately, Ryan has a beef with Goldenboy and is now being sued by Goldenboy. So that should really be the focus, not Al Heyman and his support. His fighters aren't crying and he's not suing his fighters, vice versa. So we'll see how it all plays out with Ryan Garcia, Oscar De La Hoya, I do believe, and Goldenboy. But this could be a death blow if Ryan somehow wins this and gets out of his contract, because he's the last big star. Jaime Munguia just fought Derevchenko. A lot of people thought he lost that fight. Plus, he's not English speaking, or he doesn't publicly speak too much English. And he hasn't, he's been around long enough. He hasn't really transitioned all the way as like a star, right? Jojo Diaz signed an extension, but he has several losses and he had some public issues and demons, said he was doing substance abuse or alcohol abuse and things like that. So it's like, who is Goldenboy turned to? Yeah, they got guys like Floyd Schofield, but I mean, he's so early in his career and you have to match him with somebody that people want to see. And so far, he's kind of in prospect level fights. We'll see how it plays out with Ryan Garcia, but it looks like it's going to get a whole lot uglier before it gets any better. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Best in the business. I'm out.